Living business.
Well, we'll be back from the break. Let's continue with more business this morning. It's 8 a.m. in the AM. And now, of course, let's kickstart it off with the business tip this morning to at least motivate you and at least have something to learn on Boxing Day as the week is started. Well, the business tip says get organized. To achieve business success, you need to be organized. It will help you complete tasks instead of other things to be done. A good way to be organized is to create a to-do list each day. So as I in the video, creating a to-do list is going to be very fundamental for you as well. So why don't you do that? Create a to-do list today on what you're going to achieve. At least it will help you as well. That is something that you should be what you are supposed to be doing today. So as an individual or as a business person, creating or having room for an organized way of doing things will help you execute your tasks better. So get organized, do something when you have a plan for it. So that is what this tip is apparently telling us. Get organized. If it's better, you can as well make it by creating a to-do list of what you want to achieve today, of what you want to do, and then you'll be able to do the exact thing. Well, besides that, now let's have a look at our business quotes of this morning as we motivate you as well. This is coming in from Socrates, the father of Western philosophy, who said the secret of change is to focus all your energy not on the new and on the secret of change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. So don't focus on fighting the old, but build the new. So make sure that you're building the new, and it's something that should be a big move for you as an individual. Don't focus all your energy on the old, but focus on building the new. So that is what this business quote is telling us to do this particular morning. And well, that is it from the business tips and business quotes. But at this particular moment in time, we turn our eyes to our first business update this morning that is coming in from Parliament of Uganda. Let's have it, and I'll be right back.
Speaker, was passed by the previous parliament. And the minister knew that it was one of the bills that was not assented to. And how I wish she had worked with the member so that she supports the member. We are not doing this for our own. Support the member so that the bill can come. And then you even support the process at the committee level. Now, we would not be going into this. We would, by today, be having the bill passed. So I want to request the executive, moving forward, we have other private members' bills. We have the sexual offences bill, which was passed by the last parliament, brought back, and I want to request Still, Honorable Minister, this falls in your area because it is intended to address a problem concerning your sector.
Thank you, Honorable Sarah.
So I want to request, please support us so that we move together. Other than this, you know, it looks ugly that a member has brought a bill and then the government again brings a bill. Why don't you support the process so that we move together with one bill, like we did with the HIV bill and others? Thank you, Right Honorable.
Law revision. Again, with your guidance, the Attorney General came and we engaged because they had a similar bill, which I think is this one. Right Honorable Speaker, you recall my motion and the draft bill had already been uploaded on a parliamentary platform, and I thought, Right Honorable Speaker, that in the spirit of allowing them to bring their bill, they would cater for the interests in the private members' bill. Unfortunately, Right Honorable Speaker, I have perused their bill, and it has no relationship whatsoever with the bill I intended to move. Right Honorable Speaker, when you look at my bill, which...
Without going into details, okay? Okay? Because I know...
has no amendment on the Penal Code Act in light of the provisions of the Supreme Court in the Andrew Mwenda case. It has no provision on the Public Order Management Act in light of the Mwanga Chivumbi case on permission by police. Under sedition. In fact, last year I represented a young man called Vigirwa Moses before the DC court over a law that had been declared unconstitutional. I had to remind the magistrate that this is an unconstitutional law, but they are still on our law books. So I expected the Attorney General to capture this. We have obsolete laws. Nachivubo War Memoriam Trust Act, Right Honorable Speaker. We are battling with issues to do with this post-development. It's a very obsolete and redundant law. When you look at theirs, they mention many, not many, but some, which are not captured. So, Right Honorable Speaker, it is obvious that their bill is not in tandem with my bill. But with your guidance, if they can agree to capture the provisions in my bill, I would have no problem with it, with your guidance. If not, Right Honorable Speaker, maybe that Attorney General is here, he would commit himself. If not, I would seek your indulgence to allow me move a motion to have the matter resolved.
But Honorable, I said the presiding officers.
One, Osman is a colleague of mine, personal friend. And ideally, there's no way we can avoid to consider his concerns. As Attorney General's chambers, I think we shall accord him time. We look at what he has and see if we can include it. So that we harmonize our positions to avoid a lot of disagreement on the floor of Parliament. I beg to submit.
Thank you.
It's a time when you get to realize that pretty much a time when members of parliament and, of course, the bills that are actually being passed through, those that actually are happening and happening in real time, at the same time when parliament is yet to return or to resume to work in 2023. But of course, some of the other bills that we will definitely be expecting is the bill, it's the National Sports Bill. That one is basically going to be reflecting or targeting the activities of the sports in the country. That is one that we had a glimpse on before for the festive season. Pretty much a time when you get to realize at our sports sector is one that entirely needed that bill to at least be a Saturday to load, just in case if it does happen, if we are to continue looking at it in that way. But also, besides that, let's check it out with more business updates this morning to check out what is coming in from the world of business as we give you more updates.
Isingoma Mwesigwa, a member of parliament from the Hoima area, brought up the aforementioned problem when he informed the legislature that it was unfair that administration had opted not to release the paychecks for public employees in Nakaseke district.
Of Nakaseke, reporting that you will not be paying civil servants salaries for December and for December this year until I think mid or end of January. Right, Honorable Speaker, even the other day I read a copy of a letter from my cow in Hoima. The same scenario. So, right, Honorable Speaker, now that we are here and the two ministers of finance are here,
we have one minister of finance.
Okay.
Yeah. We have one minister of finance on a
my elder brother, Honorable Kasaija, is here. Can we really know what's happening? Because this is too much.
The State Minister for Finance, Honorable Musasizi, responded to the concern by stating that while it is true that some districts are experiencing pay gaps for the month of December as a result of science teachers' compensation increases, they are currently consulting on how to resolve the situation.
It's true that some votes are finding challenges in paying salaries for December, and I wish to state as follows. A number of votes, especially local government, experienced wage shortfalls in Q1 of this financial year 2022-2023. This was largely attributed to salary enhancement for scientists and secondary school science teachers. As a result, Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development provided additional resources for wage through supplementary funding to the affected votes.
On the other hand, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament and MPs have urged that the issue be resolved right away before Christmas and have asked that the Ministry of Public Service and the Department of Finance return after a short break with a resolution.
Why I still believe public service has a critical role to play. Salary is a statutory obligation. Finance does not have discretion on it. It doesn't. So on issues of discretion, I can agree. But on issues where finance, where we have no discretion, even we here, that's why that part of the budget is protected. We just pass it the way it is. So that one I shouldn't be having a much bigger problem. But let the Minister of Public Service come back here. Because the numbers and public service, the other day I told Prime Minister to hand a matter, which they have not. They are forcing me to appoint. I'm being pushed into a corner of appointing a select committee.
Upon their return, the two ministries informed the legislature that the problem of salaries will be addressed as soon as today. Minister Kasaija gave the legislature the assurance that he would personally notify the Deputy Speaker once the salaries were made public.
To err is human. To err. I think there is an English of that, English saying in that direction. To make errors is human.
And I want to tell this House explicitly now, please release me. I will make sure I will send a message to the Speaker exactly what is happening now vis-a-vis the subject matter we are talking about.
Honourable Minister, go and ensure that what you've committed here is implemented. Please.
Thank you.
Please, listen, Honourable colleagues. Now, Honourable colleagues, just Honourable Minister, let me just assure Honourable colleagues. You see, we are talking about the deadline of today for people to get salaries. Now, the issues we are raising are issues which can be handled even in January. But now we want an emergency situation of helping colleagues.
Contrarily, the head of opposition has warned government about how it conducts itself to the point where Parliament must first step in for it to fulfill its duties.
Are you able to run government that we must remind you that you have a duty to pay salary, to come here and make phone calls? The other day, the Prime Minister was angry with me because I said she runs the government like a WhatsApp group. And this is the kind of thing that a member must rise to say, you have not paid salary. So, oh, let's make phone calls. Hey, are you able to run government? You're not inspired. You are really insipid and you don't inspire confidence. People watching you trying to run government.
The Ministry of Finance has today presented the budget framework paper to the legislature, and it has been sent to the Sectoral Committee of Budget and other committees, which will scrutinize it and will be brought back to Parliament for the whole House to debate on the 31st of January next year.
Servants is another huge point of discussion in the August House. The reason being, sometimes the salaries delay, and of course there are those who are actually having their cries over the fact that it does not only delay, but at times it becomes even worse for everybody to at least sit down there and prepare themselves for a festive season. If at all you have no money, imagine such a time. So that is where the legislators will actually say that, well, it is very important for the government to think about clearing these particular salary discrepancies from most public servants. Why? Because they need this money. They need to at least have the festive season. They should be having a happy time with their family, but when they are having happy wallets with them. So you can easily see why that is so. So entirely, these are some of the key discussions that we are having, of course, throughout the entire country. Well, the economy is not moving so well for everyone, but when you look through the situation, there is something that you should as well know as an individual, that if you are working for a company, for example, and of course, during this festive season, most people do believe it is time when the companies will be responding to them. Now, for the public servants, of course, because they do work for the government, they believe being on payroll is something everyone wants to have in their working time. And then that means, therefore, if you are working, you expect the government to be paying you. But at the time when the festive season is just ahead of you, you're preparing to at least go and meet your family, your parents, and all your relatives during the season, and you have nothing to carry for them simply because your wallets are dry at the end of the day and you're expecting something from the government. So that is where the legislators were actually calling on the government to clear the areas or the salaries of the public servants, to at least enjoy the festive season, at least also prepare themselves for 2023, because that would be a better way to at least have it into 2023 when you have a happy wallet and of course when you are loaded as an individual. So besides that, you get to realize that it is something when you as an individual get to cope up with the kind of speed that is coming in this particular morning. And of course, this week is a week where we entirely say goodbye to the festive season. Like I did mention at the start of the show, that by the 31st of December, this very year, is when we shall be saying officially the festive season is done, and we're waiting for 2023, a business day. So it is another situation that we need to at least understand. Well, besides that, now we are having another business update, and this particular one is coming in from the issue to do with the death of BMK, who passed on earlier this year, but there is something which is apparently regarding the construction of the hospital. But apparently, information coming in there, there's some failure to do a bit or most of the work, and they believe government should come through to help ensure that this hospital that the late BMK had initiated will definitely become a reality in regards to putting it up or setting up this particular facility. So there was a contract with the late BMK to construct a hospital, and apparently for now, what is halting the construction, or what is halting the finishing up the hospital and construction of the hospital, is lack of funding. So the contractors do believe it should be government to come through and help out with the funding, not only government, but also some other humanitarian calls should be needed into this particular one. Let's have more from this outlet.
Colleagues, I was in the Ministry of Health. We used to send money to districts to actually procure contractors and undertake works. But right, Honorable Speaker, it was a challenge. Most of you know that the health center force that were constructed through the district systems had to be redone because they got contractors who had no capacity. They didn't know. Yes, the supervision became a challenge. So this is why, Right Honorable Speaker, we decided to re-centralize. However, the problem is not with re-centralization. Once a contractor has been procured by the center, this contractor must be introduced to the district, and the district has a role to supervise. But the biggest problem also, Right Honorable Speaker, is the issue of lotting. And I want to appeal to my colleagues, specifically Ministry of Education and Health, where there is money and the lotting system is being done. Before I left the ministry, we had asked the permanent secretary to stop the issue of lotting. You give one contractor 6, 7 sites, all scattered in different districts. And far apart, Right Honorable Speaker. Yes, and far apart. There are challenges with financing. And therefore, the ministry should get out of this lotting business, maybe give a contractor not more than 2, 3 sites, so that they can be able, manageable, they can be able to manage. And most of our local contractors lack financial capacity and they don't have access to cheap credit. So the issue of corruption, Right Honorable Speaker, corruption is everywhere. It is at the center, it is at the district, it is everywhere. I think it is high time we thought of having one small entity that will do these procurements for us. Short of that, we are spreading corruption right from the center to the local government.
Thank you.
So yes, that small team.
Honorable Open, please.
Thank you.
And our BMK as a doctor, the development partners and the Ministry of Health officials. After that meeting, I think everybody got out knowing that BMK doesn't have the capacity to finish the work they gave them. Let me explain. Let me explain.
Colleagues, just allow, please. Hey, now, colleagues, you're defying me. That means when I tell you to listen, no, Minister,
even their own supervisors, if you need an explanation, they were given 2 years to finish the contract. In 16 months, they had only done 30%, 33% of the work. Now, if you have done 33% of the work in a period of 16 months, and they have only 4 months to finish, can you do the 67% in 1 month, in 4 months? Their supervisor considered that they can't finish. The consultant procured.
Honourable Minister, please conclude your
The consultant, Right Honourable Speaker.
Please, I will
the
not run an array
consultant
house, please.
who
Please
is
behave.
supervising all
Okay?
these
You can't
projects in
continue
northern
behaving this
Uganda recommended that BMK cannot finish the work. They don't have the capacity to finish the work. And I have had several meetings with them as a company, because even when BMK was brought here, the same thing you said, I did eulogize him, because I said we have a consanguineous relationship with the family. And so,
Honourable Minister.
I sat with the family, the PS sat with them 5 times. They
Honourable Minister, let me make it easy for you. Let me just make it easy for you. We can understand your concerns as a ministry. But Honourable Minister, what members are saying is fairness, because you have projects that are performing worse than BMK, that are consuming much bigger money, and you're not terminating any. Okay? You are instead adding them money. You're not terminating any. You're giving them more money, you're revising, you're doing what? So, what we are saying, what honorable colleagues are saying, Honorable Minister, is very simple, that indeed you might have challenges. We don't want to, Honorable Minister, I wish you could listen to me. Honorable Minister, as the Minister for Health, okay? If we are to study your projects one by one, and we say the yardstick you have applied on BMK, apply it all, you would be shocked on what would come out. So what we are requesting you is simple, that support this local company, look through their issues, have a meeting with the Attorney General, have a meeting with them, have a meeting with the funder, support. So Honorable Mumba, you want to say something? Information.
I am not going to be here to tell you what I've discussed with BMK. They have, but they have conceded as we speak today that they can't manage the work. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, the bank, the World Bank, has refused, and they are the funders.
Procedure.
If the bank refuses, what do we do?
Minister, there is a procedure issue. There is a procedure issue. Right Honorable Speaker, we have received a report. In that report, they interacted with the ministry. What the minister is telling us is information that is in the report. Because the ministry was given an opportunity to appear before the committee and put their side of the story. The committee processed that information from the ministry and information from other stakeholders, and they have come up with recommendations. Right Honorable Speaker, is it procedurally right for the Honorable Minister to come and regurgitate information that they already gave to the committee? Is it procedurally right?
Honorable colleagues, Honorable Minister, I need a report of the tripartite meeting by 10th of January. The House needs the report of the tripartite meeting. That is the report for the meeting between the Minister of Health, please, Honorable Panado, you will not talk to the minister, then you bring me news of what you've discussed. No, that's not how we shall run the House. Please. No. Issues you have. So, please, colleagues, when I'm in a chair, I know who is here. I had already picked Honorable Rumumba. The minister insisted he wanted to give information. So when Honorable Rumumba is here, we are discussing the matter of Health. The Minister for Health takes precedence because she's in charge of the document. Okay? Please, colleagues, you will not tell me how to run the House. When I have a Minister for Health here, I go to the Minister for the sector. You won't tell me who to pick, who to do anything with, okay? Yeah. So, Honorable Minister, I need a report from the tripartite meeting so that we see how this matter has been resolved in relation to the recommendations of the committee. Rob, and then I conclude.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I would like to appreciate the committee for the very elaborate report. The committee was only shy in naming and shaming Right Honourable Speaker. And on another day, it could have gone out of its way to establish individuals that are cajoling, intimidating the company into abandoning this project. And I listened to the minister and even read her lips. She has had meetings with the family, not the company. And Right Honourable Speaker, we have information. You see, these companies operate in public space where information is awash as to what is going on. Of individuals telling the company to abandon the project and instead partake of something small for another company to come in. Secondly, Honourable Speaker, we are also aware that there are individuals who told the company that they have to part with 10% revolutionary fund. Who's the revolution and who's the fund? They are not talking about it. So when we come here and we get equivocal submissions from the ministers in charge, there's even information to believe the grapevine that indeed the company is being held at ransom to abandon the project. And the Dr. Yume's submission actually let the cat out of the bag. This is your committee. They did a job on our behalf. And they are extremely believable. I'm afraid, my sister, you're not believable any day. You're not believable. You need to roll back your appetite for overtaking projects and allow people to do their work. You are not believable, I'm afraid. Right Honourable Speaker, we need a commitment from the leader of government business that they are going to take up the committee recommendation because the Parliament is ready to take them on, to adopt the report. Right Honourable Speaker? I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Rob.
Right Honourable Speaker.
Colleagues.
And I also want to thank the committee for a good report. The report is detailed and it simplifies for us, the supervisors, to follow up on the matter because the details are really leading. I also want to, Right Honourable Speaker, through you, to request the leader of opposition not to belittle my colleague, the minister, because she was doing it on behalf of government. Please, let's really accord each other, because tomorrow it will be any of us to be in that chair. Right, Honourable Speaker, the issue of lotting is something that government has already identified as a challenge and solution has been found. It is beyond lotting. Lotting was basically done under the U-Gift project. That is under Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Education. We've had challenges in almost all of the areas. But the President has given guidance and work has started that when it comes to construction under the Ministry of Education, secondary school and above, secondary education and above, and under the Ministry of Health, Research Center 3 and above, those are done by UPDF, the Engineering Brigade. And the intention is to make sure we get standard work, quality work done, to also look at the unity cost, because that has also gone up high, but we don't get the best quality in some of the projects. So that is going on, and it has also led to delay in some of the projects, because as we take UPDF does the construction. But Right Honourable Speaker, on the projects that are ongoing, especially under U-Gift, we still have challenges with quite many of them. But
basically on this report, Right Honorable Speaker, I've liked the idea. You have said that we have, as cabinet, brought here proposals where government is supporting some companies. I think we should come up with a procedure and the principles under which who should be supported so that it is transparent and clear for everybody. Because if we came last week with something, proposal to support one local company, and today we are debating to remove from another, it also leaves the Ugandans who vote us as people in leadership that there is an issue that we must look at. I take responsibility on behalf of the leader of government business and support the report. And Right Honorable Speaker, we should be able to report back whether we are in a recess or not by 10th, because it is urgent for the good of the local companies in this country, but also for the good of somebody who was the sole proprietor of BMK, who supported the employment industry in this country. He's one person who introduced the motorcycle as a border as transport in this country. He's one person who put efforts in the skilling of people in Katwe. And that is something that has been taken up by our technical schools. So as a process of paying back, we also as government should look at this. And I also want to say, I may say all of this, but as a former Secretary General of the ruling party, I want to say this, he was one person because of COVID who gave me accommodation with my team in BMK during the COVID time, and even gave us his boardroom for us to hold the meetings. I want to say we should be human. And Right Honorable Speaker, I support the report is adopted. Thank you.
Thank you.
And well, after the break, we return with sports business and the letters coming in from entertainment business. Stick around. This is SMB.